The camera fades in on an endless stretch of golden prairie, wind dancing through tall grass, sunlight glimmering like gold dust. Then, a faint sob breaks the calm. A girl with uneven, jagged hair stumbles through the field, clutching her braid, what's left of it, in her trembling hands. Her name is Ellie Mae Carter. Abe Brookie, and 5 minutes ago, her world fell apart. Before we go any further, if powerful true stories about courage and justice move your heart, hit that subscribe button right now and join our community of kindness and strength. Because this one will stay with you for a long time. Ellie Mae was 16, raised in the wide-open plains of South Dakota. Her family lived miles from the nearest town, a modest white farmhouse surrounded by wheat fields and dirt roads that turned to rivers of dust in the summer. Prairie, she wasn't like other girls in school. While they wore designer jeans and drove their parents' shiny trucks, Ellie came to class in hand-sewn dresses and old boots her dad polished every Sunday. Her long, honey-colored hair reached her waist. It was her signature, something that made her stand out. Her mother used to say, "Ellie Mae, your hair carries your spirit. Never let anyone dull it." But not everyone saw beauty. At Red Valley High, being different was dangerous. The girls who ruled the hallways, led by Heather Lawson, the sheriff's daughter, didn't like outsiders. They whispered when Ellie walked past, mocking her clothes, her accent, her old-fashioned ways. Still, Ellie tried to stay quiet. She'd smile, keep her head down, and walk away. Her father, John Carter, had always told her, "Kindness doesn't make you weak, darlin'. It makes you unbreakable." What no one at Red Valley High knew was who her father really was. They thought he was just a humble farmer. They had no idea he'd once worn a uniform with 3 stars on his shoulder and commanded the kind of respect that didn't fade, not even out he. It happened on a Friday, one of those bright, deceptive days when everything looks too peaceful to be real. Heather and her friends had been waiting for Ellie after gym class. The locker room was empty except for them. "Hey, Prairie girl," Heather sneered, blocking the exit. "You think you're better than us with that Disney princess hair?" Ellie clutched her bag. "I don't think I'm better than anyone," she said softly. But before she could step around them, one of the girls grabbed her braid. "Let's give her a new look," she laughed. The sound of scissors slicing through the air echoed like a scream. Ellie tried to fight, tried to pull away, but there were too many of them. They pinned her against the lockers, laughing as strands of golden hair fell to the floor like feathers. When they finally let go, Ellie's reflection in the mirror made her heart drop. Her hair was hacked off in uneven chunks, her face streaked with tears. And then came the worst part. Heather took a selfie, grinning beside Ellie's broken expression. "Smile for Facebook, Prairie girl," she said cruelly. "Let's see how much everyone loves your new haircut." They didn't know the storm they had just unleashed. At night, Ellie didn't come to dinner. She sat in her room, the braid she'd saved lying on her lap. Her mom tried to comfort her, but Ellie couldn't speak. Her dad, John, knocked on the door. "Ellie girl, can I come in?" When she finally opened the door, he froze. His heart clenched at the sight of her hair, her swollen eyes. "Who did this?" he asked quietly. She didn't answer, just handed him the braid. John turned it over in his calloused hands, his old instincts firing awake. He wasn't just a farmer, he was a retired U.S. Army general. The kind of man who had seen war, who understood what injustice looked like and what it took to set things right. He hugged his daughter tight. "They hurt my little girl," he whispered. Then his voice hardened. "Not anymore." The next morning, his old truck rumbled down the gravel road into town. Ellie begged him not to go, but he just gave her that calm, fatherly look, the one that said everything without a word. At Red Valley High, the principal's office door flew open. John Carter walked in wearing a clean-pressed shirt, his military jacket folded neatly over one arm. He placed it on the desk. The name tag still read General J.R. Carter. "Sir, this is a school matter," the principal stammered. "Then we'll handle it properly," John said. But not quietly. Within the hour, the sheriff was called in, Heather's father. The moment he saw John Carter standing there, his face paled. "Carter, I didn't know Ellie was your girl," he muttered. "Berthie, no," John said coldly. "You didn't. But you're about to learn what happens when bullies are protected instead of punished." He pulled out his phone and played a recording. The video of Heather's cruelty had already gone viral. A student who'd seen everything had sent it to Ellie's cousin, who posted it online. Thousands of people were watching, horrified. The sheriff looked trapped, his authority crumbling in front of him. "Berthie, you can suspend her," he said weakly. John leaned forward. "You're going to do more than that. You're going to teach your daughter about consequences. Because my Ellie, she's stronger than she knows. But I won't let her think silence is strength." The turning point, Berthie, by Monday. The story had spread beyond Red Valley. Local news ran a piece on the Prairie girl and the Bullies. Parents from other towns reached out with letters. Teachers called it a lesson in compassion. And strangers sent messages of support. Ellie returned to school that day, her chin high, her uneven hair tucked behind her ears. Everyone stared, not out of mockery, but respect. Heather and her friends were suspended indefinitely, but the punishment wasn't just from the school. Our families received an avalanche of calls, messages, and even visits from parents demanding accountability. Ellie, however, never gloated. She never posted anything cruel in return. She just said, "I forgive them. Because hate is heavy, and I'm done carrying it." That one sentence got shared over 1 million times online. Months later, the town of Red Valley hosted a community gathering about anti-bullying and kindness. Ellie stood on stage, still shy but radiant. The crowd quieted as she spoke. "Brother, when people laugh at your pain, don't let it turn you bitter. Turn it into strength. I thought losing my hair meant losing part of myself. But now I know what's inside me can't be cut away." The audience rose to their feet. Her father stood at the back, his eyes misty, his military jacket draped over his arm. And in that moment, the prairie wind swept through the open doors, rustling the banners above the stage, as if the land itself was proud. Later that evening, as the sun dipped below the wheat fields, John and Ellie sat on their porch. He handed her a small wooden box. Inside was her braid, now preserved under glass. "Ibrahoyu," he said softly, "a reminder that no one takes your power, not unless you let them." Ellie smiled. "You really scared the sheriff, didn't you?" John chuckled. "Let's just say he'll think twice before his daughter crosses another Carter." They laughed, the kind of laughter that comes after healing. The prairie glowed golden again, not because the pain was gone, but because they had faced it sometimes. The quietest people come from the strongest families. Sometimes, the ones you underestimate are the ones who carry legacies you can't imagine. And sometimes, when you hurt a kind heart, you awaken a sleeping giant. If this story touched you, take a moment to subscribe to the Kindness Table, where true courage and compassion come alive in every story. And tell me in the comments, from which part of the country are you watching this video? Because no matter where you're from, kindness is the strongest force we've got.